Hi guys, I am here today to talk about AEW All In Texas, which happened last night. And yeah, it's a monumental show. They got a good attendance in that stadium. Unfortunately, the sound wasn't mic'd up amazingly, but you know, can't have everything. Yeah, I'm going to get into the card now. I missed the first pre-show match with the Von Erichs and everything. I saw like the next one with the double chunk chocolate cookie guy. I don't know who the fuck he is. Like, you know, I don't watch TikTok. I mean, yeah, I know who he is from watching AEW, but like culturally, I don't know his significance. But it was fun enough, you know. It was like a fun like 8-man tag. And then there was the Outrunners versus FTR, and the match was alright. I wouldn't say it's as good as the Collision match, but it was good to have. It was a good thing to have on the pre-show before the main card. And then it kicked off with the trios belt, and I don't know if I would have placed this here, but yeah, it was the Ops versus the Death Riders with Gabe Kidd, and it was okay, you know, it was fine. I think it could have done with shaving 5 minutes off, personally, but I mean, that's a theme in this pay-per-view for me, you know, but it was alright. It ended with an angle with Samoa Joe being taken out, and like the chair in the neck, kind of Pillmanized, I guess, and it set the tone for what would happen later, like storyline wise, taking Joe out at that point, and yeah, and then I don't know. It was all right. Like, it was just there kind of thing, you know. It could have happened on Collision or Dynamite, as far as I'm concerned. And then there was the men's casino battle royal, casino gauntlet match, not battle royal. This basically this kind of revolved around MJF and Mark Briscoe and Kalisto. That storyline coming in. I think it was a foregone conclusion that MJF was going to win this, and it went on way too long. Like, there was, I think, you know, how good the Casino Gauntlet match was at last year's All In spoiled a lot of them, like, afterwards. I mean, yeah, it is a great idea, and it's good to, like, for AEW to have this kind of gimmick match to itself, but I think you've either got to, like, make it special or, like, do less of them, really. You could, like, just save it for, like, the All-In pay-per-views, maybe, I don't know, or just give it its own pay-per-view, or, like, have it at, like, I don't know, World's End or Wrestle Dream or something. Well, not World's End, because if they do the Continental Classic, that's kind of, like, an important thing for that, but I have my own issues with the World's End pay-per-views, the past two. But yeah, I think the Casino, this one in particular, went on way too long with, like, not, like, many surprises. I was really hoping for, like, an Eddie Kingston comeback, something like that, you know, that would be significant and, like, be a big pop to the match. We got Juice Robinson, which was cool, but he really shouldn't have shaved his beard. He looks kind of strange, to be honest, even though he is a strange guy, really. But, you know, he's with Tony Storm, lucky him, right? But yeah, like, the story going into it with MJF and Mark Briscoe, I think that's, like, really good, and I think it's, like, the beginning of that feud, and MJF won that match, and he's got his shot at the title. I guess they're going to do it Money in the Bank style again, but I don't know. I don't know if they should maybe, like, stay away from that kind of thing, but for MJF's character, that will definitely work. And then we had a 4-way for the TNT title, and it was Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Kyle Fletcher, and Daniel Garcia. And unfortunately, Adam Cole had to, like, relinquish the TNT title, and had a heartbreaking speech in a ring, and at that point it wasn't clear what was going on. But like now, as I'm back home from my day out, I like see that it's another head injury kind of thing, and it's just sad that Adam Cole can't catch a break, like with these injuries happening and stuff. And it's a shame because, you know, like since he's been back from the last one, you can tell the quality of his wrestling's like not quite been there, even though he is trying. You can tell he's trying. And I like Adam Cole. I think, you know, I loved his NXT run. Saw bits of his ROH run, but like not a whole lot because I wasn't really following it much then. And yeah, and it's a shame because, you know, he was one of these guys where he should be a main eventer, but you can tell that like Tony doesn't really want to put him in these like prominent spots because of how everything's been. Like you've heard all the stories about how he's been dealing with like the head issues and stuff, and it's like very well documented. And on top of that, you know, personal shit with Britt Baker and that can't be easy, you know. And I just hope he can have like a redemption story and get well and get to how he wants to be, regardless if he's going to be in wrestling still or whatever. You know, he like seems like a genuine nice guy, like one of the few in wrestling. So I just hope he'll be well. But yeah, Dustin Rhodes actually won this match for the big Texas pop for the veteran, and it was okay. Once again, it was a match that could have been on Collision or like even Rampage if Rampage was still around. It was just there, but that was a good moment, like, and I think it works, you know, because he could lose it to someone that like needs it, maybe like a Carl Fletcher or even Daniel Garcia, although it's clear like we don't really know what direction Daniel Garcia's going in. But like, or I don't know if they've given up on him or if he's just kind of there really at the moment, which is a shame because I feel like by this point he should be more than what he is. You know, like if you look at him like a year ago in that MJF feud or whatever. But yeah, like have Dustin like, you know, do an impassioned promo about still having it. Because the thing is with Dustin Rhodes, right, he may be like on the wrong end of his 50s, but he could still cut a fucking great promo and like bring the emotion and grit in, and you know, and he could like have a bloody like he could be an amazing loser basically to like the person that needs to be elevated with a belt or like needs the belt, and like him losing a bloody brawl, like Carl Fletcher like beating the fuck out of him and like just being an arsehole. I think that could work, you know. But overall, the TNT title scene, I think, has really floundered since. I mean, like I think like Cope, like that was probably like the last one I kind of enjoyed. Like he was just like having decent matches on like TV and that, and the feud with Malachi Black. And unfortunately, he did that stupid like jump, like, you know, which you probably shouldn't do if you're 50. And yeah, I think that like title's just fucking floundered and definitely needs a bit of a rebuild. But like hopefully whoever wins it off Dustin can do this. And then it went on to the tag match. It was the Young Bucks against Swerve and Ospreay, and this was like well built, very well built, and the match was great. Like it started slow, it like had like a bit of a slow build. And the entrances were pretty awesome for Ospreay and Swerve, I thought. I loved JoJo singing Ain't Nobody at the beginning of Swerve's thing. And, you know, I haven't really cared about Assassin's Creed in a very long time. Like, I've barely touched it, to be honest. It's not really a franchise I've ever totally delved into. It's all right, but, you know, it's just kind of there. And every game I play of it seems the same. But, like, I digress. But yeah, that was a cool entrance anyway. And then the Young Bucks had their stupid, like, founding fathers, like, Abe Lincoln's. Oh, sorry, I don't really know American history, like blue coats, red coats, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it works for the heel heat, I guess. And the match like built really well into like craziness and like dramatic near falls. And I was like, I kind of was in the school of thinking that maybe Swerve and Osprey would lose this, so like it's a year later, and then Osprey could get the title shot at All In Wembley. But there's also the thought of like, you know, you need like those main level guys that can like challenge Hangman or whoever is going to have the belt for the year, and those are two people. You don't want to make that same mistake that like with Cody, like back along, you know. And yeah, I think it's a good choice that they like won this match, and it was very effective. I thought like one of the matches of the night maybe. And then it went on to and then it went on to, I think it was the Women's Casino. It was, well, I don't know the total, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I think it was the Women's Casino Gauntlet. And I did miss like probably the first 5 to 10 minutes of this. And I think this flowed a lot better than the men's one, to be honest. And I think the right person won, Athena. You know, I've been wanting to see more of her on AEW. What I've seen of her ROH women's title run has been the highlight of ROH whenever I've like watched their pay-per-views and like watched their TV when they came back. Like I like watched it for about a month or two, but it, you know, it turned into AEW Dark, didn't it? You know, so, but you know, maybe I'm not that educated in there, but yeah, I think Athena's the right choice for that, and you know, she might win the title off Mercedes, or she might win it off Toni Storm, but we will get to that. And then there was the three-way tag team match, and it was pretty cool, you know. I mean, it was fine. I think, like, it was all for, like, what happened at the end, the angle at the end. And, I don't know, if it was me, I probably would have like prolonged this. I would have had like Christian and Nick Wayne win this in the most sneaky fashion possible, and then kind of like prolong what happened at the end when like Nick Wayne kind of like turned on Christian and FTR were there, and you know they were like about to do the concerto and that, and then Cope comes out. Go find yourself. He is a corny fucker. Like, he really is a bit of a corny fucker, but it will work. And I think like Nick Wayne, like he's great, and like he still has a lot of time. He's very young, but like that little elevation with like a feud like with that could work wonders, I think. And yeah, I guess it will like go into like Christian against Nick Wayne and Cope against Nick Wayne, and then eventually Christian and Cope against the Bucks, like probably All Out in Canada. Not the Bucks, FTR, sorry, probably in Canada, but I mean them against the Bucks will happen. And like it's a fine nostalgia run. I'm a big fan of Christian, like even his like you know, his AEW run's been good. I think the last kind of year's been hindered a bit. There's obviously more of a plan with him and Killshot. Is it Killshot? Like Luchasaurus' new name? Yeah, I think there was more of a plan going on, but obviously Killshot's unfortunate illness, you know, probably hindered that. And sometimes with Tony Khan, if there's an injury or like something taken out, it might take a while for like an angle or a storyline to get his footing again, like when it comes to something like that. And that's fine. I think like it'll work, you know, it'll work, and yeah, and it's in the right place it should be. But yeah, and then there was the three main events. There was Mercedes and Toni Storm, and this was like a great back and forth match. Like Mercedes had like a lot of the advantage throughout the match, and Toni Storm was pulling out some crazy shit as well. and the right person won again. You know, Tony Storm definitely should have won this match. Like, this is the right time for Mercedes to lose, because, you know, if Mercedes was to win this belt, then how long would that fucking go on? You know, and like, you need the right other people elevated. I mean, in my mind, Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale should be in that fucking echelon, you know, of like going for the belts and being on their top all the time. But they kind of, you know, they're like used a bit too sparingly for my point of view, you know, and I'm hoping that's going to change at some point soon. But yeah, Toni Storm winning this, she's amazing, you know. They've like really captured something with her, and she's done so well with this gimmick, and like her matches have been good, and yeah, like all thumbs up from me. And then there was Okada versus Kenny Omega, and the build up and the entrances and the feeling at the start of this match, that is a big match feel. Fucking hell, Kenny Omega's entrance with the like Omega sign and the flames, oh my god, I had chills. And I think it was as good a match as they should have had, you know. It's kind of like almost what you expect, but like not the same kind of fast-paced stuff they were doing in 2017, 2018. But yeah, for like a match, their first match in maybe like 7 years, I think it worked well. And I think once again, Okada was the right person to win. And I'm looking forward to him and Takeshita down the line. I think that'll be a big thing. And I think Takeshita needs to be in that like main bracket in AEW as well, in that main scene. And I think that will be the thing to like elevate to that. But yeah, then it's the main event. Oh my god. A big bloody brawl. A big bloody messy brawl. Nasty shit. Hardcore death match. You know, fucking nail boards. Glass. And choking. Chains. Hangman versus Jon Moxley. Now, we all know how the Death Riders storyline has gone. I think it started well. And it like, fuck it, it dwindled from about like, I don't know, November, mid-November, after Full Gear. And then, you know, I'd say like, maybe in like March, kind of like, it was kind of working. I think some of the build towards the Swerve match was alright. After they got the coat match out of the way, that was okay, but the match was a big fucking letdown. And then they've just been like on their own island a bit, you know. It's like never been like the total focal point since then, but it's like worked, and like they're just more than like being something like where they've taken over AEW. They've just been kind of like a heel group basically, causing havoc. But in my mind, not enough fucking havoc. Because when they put that bag on Bryan Danielson, like, I wanted months of them just, like, causing fucking shit and disrupting everything and, like, trashing everyone and, like, beating the fuck out of everyone. I don't think there was anywhere near enough of that. And unfortunately, like, in Jon Moxley's main events, like, since pay-per-view main events since December till, you know, this one, like, they just hasn't had that fire. But this was the Moxley I wanted to see. Had the fire, had the aggression, and it was dramatic. It was amazing. Hangman is like one of the best baby faces in wrestling, you know. And he's not really a like true baby. He's got depth to his character. That is the main thing here. And his entrance was fucking cool with Molly Lewis doing the whistling. I first heard of her on the Kieran J. Callahan Good Enough song. And yeah, beautiful stuff. And this was a brilliant fucking match. It was booked well. Obviously there was like run-ins, like the Death Riders like trying to help Mox get the win. And how it built up to like the Derby video. Everyone's like, what the fuck? And then Bryan Danielson in that it's almost like his old American Dragon mask, like from way back along, or it could be Blue Panther or something. Comes out and he like lays out Yuta and gets the yes going, and it's a good fucking moment. Then Darby comes in and then like everything's cleared, and none of this interference is disrupting the match. It feels like it works within the match. It's not like, oh, we hit the entrance music, here we come, ha ha. No, it really worked. And the ending with like Swerve handing him the chain and Paige choking him out, and the emotion in Hangman Page's performance, like when he won and like undoing the key and getting the belt. That was a beautiful moment, like one of the top tier AEW moments ever, like since it began. And yeah, because of that and the other two main events, this was definitely like worth checking out. It was a very long show, which is fine, you know. Like I watched Wrestle Kingdoms that is 6 hours, and it's fine. And I think the pacing of it is similar to kind of like Wrestle Kingdoms and stuff. It's like match, building until like the main thing. And yeah, but like I feel like you could like just skip the first 2 hours, but that's me. Other people may find like some more enjoyment in those like first like 4 to 5 matches. But yeah, obviously the 3 main events and the Young Bucks and Swerve and Ospreay match, like those are the ones to watch from this show. And it was a monumental show for AEW, and it just seems like they're going to go on a different course from here, and they've had a lot of momentum the past few months, and it just feels great, you know. It's good to have a big company to watch that like you can enjoy and like flows really well with like wrestlers and characters you can like believe in and enjoy, really. And I'm looking forward to Forbidden Door. I am going to Forbidden Door, and I can't wait. And I'm not sure what to expect there, although there was an advert on the show with Will Ospreay. Like, I can't remember what he said, but it alluded to his time in Japan quite a bit. And while that's cool and everything, I don't want to see him against Zack Sabre Jr., because I saw that live at Royal Quest 3, and it was an amazing match. It was like a 5-star match for sure. And like on this level, it'd be good, but like I don't think New Japan like necessarily needs someone that's like, they don't really need like a world champion to like share with AEW at this point, you know. I mean, if it was me, I'd have like Takeshita like be the next, win the G1, then win, or even like Gabe Kidd. But yeah, I feel like I don't know if I want that as like Will Ospreay's match, because to me he has to win whatever he's doing in Forbidden Door. Like it would just feel weird if he doesn't. I mean, it'd be cool if it was him and Hangman had that short reign, and then like, oh, I don't know, you could have like MJF like cash in his bullshit at some point, and then Mark Briscoe beat MJF for that like happy moment down the line. But I don't know, I'm just looking forward to seeing where it's going, and it was an interesting, noteworthy show, and I hope my thoughts were alright. I don't know, it's a bit long, this fucking video, I'm so sorry. But have a good one, and I'll see you again.